Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast. I'm Nick. We got Harrison and Sean tonight. How we doing, fellas?
Boy, we're coming in hot.
Coming
Happy
in
Fourth.
hot.
Happy
Happy
Fourth.
Fourth. Yes. Make sure everybody has a safe and happy holiday. Make sure you all leave with 10 fingers tomorrow. And join us next week, please.
My favorite July 3rd meme is one of, was it Thomas Jefferson, who just goes, "Oh crap, that thing's due tomorrow."
Yes.
It's so great. All right. Before we get going, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook, and you can subscribe on YouTube. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and wherever you get your podcasts. All right. Leading off, I'm going to be honest, Harrison. I thought you were going with a Jason Pierre-Paul joke there, not a Thomas Jefferson, but it's all good. All right. Leading off, all-star teams were announced. It is next week. We kind of all figured that it's going to be an all Braves infield and all,
a lot of Blue Jays.
Which kind of shocks me, to be honest. But anyways, let's get straight to the snubs. Who do we think are the?
Can we at least acknowledge that when you look at that roster, it feels like it's the Atlanta Braves and a few other guys against the American League? I'm just asking.
Yeah, like the whole Braves infield. I mean, they're the best team in baseball now. They took over the best record.
You throw Dansby Swanson in there, and he's, he was a Brave, so it's crazy. Anyways.
Yep, if Freddie Freeman's in there, so I mean, all ex-Braves are, or current Braves are making up the infield. It's crazy. So yeah, let's just get right to the snubs. We kind of know what the rosters are. They've been out for a week, the starters, and then they released the reserves. Who are some names that we thought should have gotten a decent look and didn't?
Verdugo for me was the first one that jumped out.
Yeah. And do we agree that Kenley Jansen should have gotten the nod?
I mean, I think for overall for the body of work for the first half of the year, some consideration is certainly worth it.
Yep.
But I don't think. Sorry, something just flashed by the window. I don't think we'd be crazy to think that he's come back to earth a little bit for the last month, right? So I think that leaves, I could go on a whole soapbox. I think I probably did it last year and the year before. Like I can't stand the way the All-Star voting. It's a popularity contest.
Yes,
1,000%.
It's a popularity contest, and it drives me nuts that the legacies of some of these players are tied to, like, if you go onto Baseball Reference and you look at, Willie Mays, for example, right? One of the best players of all time. And it shows how many All-Star nods he had.
24.
Which is insane. And that was an example of just because a guy that had so many, right? But then you look at a guy like Alex Verdugo, who, in my opinion, deserved to be representing the American League in the All-Star game this year. Yep. He has not been to an All-Star game. He to this point in his career, he has 0 All-Stars to his resume. He should have one.
If the Red Sox are in second or third place,
but that shouldn't matter. On the team.
But
that shouldn't matter because
agree.
It becomes a popularity contest. We just have It's a fan voting nonsense process.
Yep.
Where the people that aren't working are voting for the people they think that are cutest for like 35 hours. You vote as many times as you want. It's like, oh, I think he's hot. Vote. It's like, what are we talking about here? This is outrageous. We're talking about a guy in Verdugo who, amongst outfielders in the American League, he's top 10 in hits, doubles, RBIs. He is, I think, third in the American League in outfield assists. He's top 10 in defensive outs.
He had one to end the game the other night against the Blue Jays.
I mean, but every which way you look at it, I mean, the only number that's down is home runs. Yep. He hit his first home run was it yesterday or 2 days ago? Since May 1st. So he's got 6 on the year. The only number that's down is home runs. But he has been an absolute catalyst for this team. Top of the lineup every night that he's in there. And it's no surprise that the games that the Red Sox are winning, it's when Verdugo has multiple hits and he's setting the tone. He's a fantastic base runner. Have you seen him yet this year get thrown out on the bases? I haven't.
No.
He is a fantastic base runner. He's a fantastic outfielder. It's like, to me, it upsets me more than it should, because it's like, this guy deserves to be there.
Yeah, and not to mention, he's got 3 or 4. Sorry, 4 walk. Somebody pick it up. Crap, what did I do? I'm losing it. Anyways, he's got like 3 or 4 walk-off hits this year, right?
Oh yeah, he's
And
got
then-
quite a few.
And he had like 2 in 1 week.
Yeah, a lot of them. I mean, I think he's got 4, and I think 3 of them came in like April and the first half of
Yeah.
May. But I mean,
Crazy.
what do you expect? He's not going to have 15 on the year. I mean, for Christ's sakes. I mean, that's a season's worth in itself.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we gotta
I'm
get back on the
done.
rails.
It's fine.
We gotta get back on the rails. here.
I'm so overtired. I'm sorry. I'm trying.
All right, let's get
All
back
right.
on the rails.
All right. Home run derby announced. Or some. We still have 3 spots left, I think. So right now we have Rosarina, Alonso, Rodriguez. We kind of talked about him a little bit last week, and then Betts officially announced. I didn't know I thought he officially announced last week, and didn't. But anyways, he's in.
Yeah, well, it was rumored he was going to do it, and then all of a sudden he finally confirmed it.
Yep. And then Adley Rushman joined today.
Yep.
They asked Ellie De La Cruz, and he goes, "No thanks. Maybe next year. I want to focus on my team winning." Cool, fair.
When was the last time a Reds player got to say that?
I know, right? I mean, Todd Frazier is probably their last representative, right?
I think you're
But
right.
they weren't winning then.
No,
True.
absolutely.
True. There was nothing to worry about.
Right. He couldn't sit there and go, "Oh, I want to focus on winning the division."
Yeah, right, right,
Yeah.
1,000%. Who do we think?
But Todd Frazier was awesome though, real quick, because he won it when they had it in Cincinnati. That was
Yeah.
awesome because he was
and the
representing
first
them
year with the
in-
clock, I think. Wasn't that the
Cincinnati.
first year with the clock?
It may have been, but that was awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
He hit some bombs during that derby.
Who do we think are going to take the last 3 spots in that? Do we have any guess? I mean,
You know what I'd love to see baseball start to do too? Let's incorporate, like, if you get to this point, you're a week away, we don't have the last 3, open it up to like former players. Let Griffey come back and take a few hacks.
I was thinking of doing
know,
like that
like-
would be
cool.
awesome.
That would be so
Like
cool.
let Bonds come back. Like give Barry Bonds like a
Whoa,
month heads up.
whoa,
Be like, hey
whoa.
Barry. No. Be like, hey Barry, you're on the clock, right? We're gonna give you a month. You like a week ahead of time. If you feel like you're ready, you let us know. We'll slide you in there. Like you tell me that wouldn't get eyeballs on the screen.
Oh,
50-something-year-old
1,000%.
wild.
50-something-year-old Bonds and Griffey are going at it, and they're in the finals. It'd be fucking awesome.
Still hitting bombs. I know they both can
Tearing
do.
hamstrings and stuff.
Oh,
But
They,
be
oh,
awesome.
absolutely agree.
I would love to see McGuire, Sosa,
Yeah.
Griffey, and Bonds roll out of the outfield to come
Right.
in, take some
It'd be
hacks.
incredible.
We're gonna light up the
So
'90s
great.
again.
Bring in the celebrity softball fence and just let them go at it.
Yeah. Dude, I would, if the celebrity home run derby or like the old timers home run derby, I would totally
Oh
watch
my
that.
god.
Absolutely.
I'd watch-
Oh my god,
I'd
yes.
watch that closer than I'd watch the regular one.
Absolutely.
But give me the standard
man.
10 outs. Don't like those guys would die with
Right.
that home run clock. It's like,
Oh yeah, that's not fair.
Yeah, bring me back to '98.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, 3 spots. Who do we? I mean, Acuna hasn't announced. Do we think he's gonna risk the season he's having
I would.
to go into a home run derby and get all out of sync? I mean,
I mean, I wouldn't.
I probably wouldn't either.
Yeah, it probably doesn't make sense. I thought we'd see Soto again. I was kind of hoping we'd see Soto
Jock
again.
Peterson's always in there for maybe a last minute call.
True.
I liked your pick last week, Sean. Adolis Garcia, I think would
Yep.
be a really cool one to see.
Yep.
But he might be in the same boat as Ellie De La Cruz, and the Rangers are in the driver's seat right now. Might not want to mess that up.
So hit me again with real quick the guys that are in it. So we got J-Rod.
J-Rod, Betts, Rushman, Alonso, Rosarina.
Okay,
Yep.
so a whole bunch of righties and a switch hitter.
Yes.
I mean, give me Schwarber. I mean, Schwarber's got 22 bombs on the year. I mean, Schwarber's always good to just get into a groove and just
Yeah.
launch missiles.
Yep.
You know, like
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see even Raffy do it. I don't think he will. I think Raffy's trying to focus. I mean, he's the soul. He's the heart and soul. Him and Verdugo are you know, the Red Sox are trying to do something here in the second half to at least make it, you know, somewhat of a successful season. So I wouldn't mind seeing Raffy get into it.
Luis Robert.
Luis Robert's a good one. Matt Olson. Matt Olson's
Oh,
second
Matt
most
Olson
in the
would-
league.
that guy hits home runs in bunches.
You know,
Like
I
he
mean,
goes
that's
like a
another
week and a half without hitting, and then he gets like 6 in about 2 games.
that's another left-handed bat that can do damn. I mean, I just don't want it to turn into like the same two guys over and over again, like 3 years in a row. Like just
Right.
let's get some new blood. That's why last week when I said Adolis Garcia, I'd love to see that. That's some new blood in there.
Yeah.
And even if he doesn't win it, he'll give you some memorable home runs because that dude can just launch.
Yeah.
Yeah, there there are some rumblings about Ohtani, and I think the Angels have really are trying to back him off. You know, he's taking an extra day with his next start, and then giving him some extra rest after the All-Star break. So I don't see them thinking him going into the home run derby would be a good idea. But it'd be fun to see that guy tear a home run derby apart.
I mean, we did. Was it last year? And he kind of wasn't a great showing.
No, it wasn't.
But, I mean, I think he's got a very special year going on right now. It's a contract year. I don't think Ohtani would necessarily want to risk it. I don't know, just speaking, but I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see Mike Trout in one of these, but we're never going to because of his injury history and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
you know who's another one I wouldn't mind seeing, and I guess I'm just apparently just partial to left-handed hitters right now. But another one I'd love to see because he can just hit him in bunches and launch him is Max Muncy.
yep,
And I have no idea what his health situation is. I know Max Muncy gets hurt quite a bit.
it's not very good. He just came back, I think,
Yeah,
or is coming back.
And that's just me kind of thinking through players that just hit highlight level home runs, and Max Muncy hits a lot of highlight level home runs.
Yeah,
he hits some serious
give,
bombs.
give me the rookie Josh Young. Give me that guy.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I mean,
Or Jorge Soler.
Jorge
Like,
Soler would be a good one. I bet he'd put on a show.
that guy hits nukes.
Yep, that's a good one too, Harrison. I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting, but I mean, with like Betts going in, a Rosarina going in, and Rushman, I wouldn't call those guys power hitters. I mean, I'm sure they'll put up some numbers, but it'll be interesting. The Derby, I think, is going to look a little bit different this year than it has in the past.
Yeah.
But
I just think players and teams are starting to realize the risk reward's just not really worth it.
Yeah.
For the Derby. I mean, and it's pretty documented, right? Like guys have a tear it up in the first half of the year. They go into the Derby and then, they come out and they're not the same for the first half of the second half, and it's like a lot of these teams rely on these guys to be themselves. And it's like, it's great. And I appreciate baseball still putting it on, and I appreciate baseball, kind of sticking with the tradition, the home run derby the day before the All-Star game and this, that, or the other. But like, I personally wouldn't mind if they go into it and go, you know what, let's do something different. Because the idea is to try to get as many of these names and faces and players involved as possible. Like, if it was something other than a home run derby that has been documented, that it screws up guys' swings. Like, guys are they don't come back the same. It takes them a while to get back on track. Wouldn't you love to see something with Ellie De La Cruz involved? I sure as hell would.
Right.
Yeah.
I was thinking like some skills competition like they do in hockey. I know we mentioned it last year. It'd be kind of cool. Like, put out targets in the outfield, put out screens that they have to like, take a pitch opposite field and hit it through a screen or target. What is it? Korean baseball does like a bunt derby where they have to like literally get it in the middle.
Have you ever? It's electric. Have you ever seen it?
It's awesome.
The highlights are electric.
The fans love it too. It's insane.
That's me. I'm that. I love it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's so great. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
I just, and I love that they're hanging on to the home run derby because they know what it's meant to them. I mean, the home run derby, we talked about 1998. I mean, that home run race, including the home run derby in the middle of the season, was incredible.
Yeah.
But I would like to see them maybe let go of it a little bit more and go, okay, how do we get the most? How do we get, as long as everyone's healthy, let's find a way to get J-Rod, Ohtani, Mike Trout, Matt Olson, De La Cruz, O'Neill Cruz. Like, let's get all of these guys involved somewhat. Like, let's get them all on TV. That's how you're gonna get your eyeballs.
Yep.
And the home run derby is great, but when you don't have the best home run hitters in the league participating, I mean, right there, it's going to turn people off. I mean, we'll all watch it. I watch
it. It's the NBA
year,
slam dunk contest right now. Like the NBA slam dunk contest doesn't have the best dunkers in the league. I mean, a guy from the G League won it this year. Like not even an NBA dunker. And it's starting to come to that a little bit. Just to go back to your point about it's changing their swings. Pete Alonso talked about on Sunday Night Baseball last night about how he literally trains for it like 2 weeks in advance. Like he changes his BP, he changes his swing, he changes everything. And
which is such a wonderful thing.
He's still got 2 weeks of games left.
Which, as a Mets fan that just lost 14 and a half games in the standings in the month of June, I'm glad that he's changing his swing to lead up to the home run derby.
Right.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing, though. Like, in Pete Alonso, you can't be mad at Pete. Pete's just being honest and telling the truth. But Pete's not the only one that does that. I would be willing to bet that most guys that participate in the home run derby follow that similar path. And when fans start to realize that, you're like, well, that's fine for the night of the home run derby. It's cool when you win it, but like as a fan of a team, like you're just changing your swing. Like we have games. We're trying to win baseball games here.
Yeah.
And a hitter and someone in the middle of your lineup is changing their swing 2 weeks ahead of him to get ready for a home run derby.
In the middle of a losing skid.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing baseball maybe shake things up a little bit and, keep the format of don't move the All-Star game. Like keep it the way that it is, but instead of a home run derby, let's do a skills type of thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's speed out there, there's arms out there, outfield arms, accuracy, all that stuff would be awesome.
How many stolen bases can we get? Like let's work out like a stolen base type of thing. The league is turning into back to the running game.
Right.
You got Acuna, this guy, I can't pronounce his name. This guy in Oakland, though, that's got like 42 bags on the year. He swiped 42 already.
Ruiz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He swiped like 42, 43 bags already. Like, I'd like to see something along like that.
It is crazy because the A's have only gotten on base 35 times this year. I don't even know it's possible. But, yeah, no, I agree. I think it's time for like a little bit of a shift. And this would be the time to do it. You have shifted so much in the game. These last couple of years, like this would be the time to be like, hey, let's also pivot a little bit here.
Right.
Like maybe not take it completely out, maybe bring it down to 4 contestants and then do skills competitions. Like you said, more guys, more things. So,
and the home run derby was at its height in the late 90s, early 2000s when baseball was losing the audience. They were losing eyeballs and like that brought them back. But the home run derby isn't bringing people back now. It's the other things around the game, the excitement of the game, other than just launching balls over the fence. That is what's bringing people back. So let's make that part of the weekend.
And those derbies had the best home run hitters. They had Bonds, they had Sosa, they had Griffey, they had McGuire. Those guys were in it every year.
It was the event that. The home run derby was like the gold standard of the All-Star break, and now it's just like another thing they do.
The celebrity softball game.
I missed that so much. That was the best part of the All-Star break was the celebrity softball game.
It's terrible now. It is god awful.
It's unwatchable.
It's really bad. All right. Well, maybe next Monday we'll go live during the derby and we can, because it will be about the same time. We'll talk about it and we'll let you guys know. But let's move on to Domingo Germán's perfect game, 24th in Major League Baseball history against the Asterix Oakland Athletics. Still a pro-ish lineup, man. But it's still
a perfect game's a perfect game.
Game's a perfect game.
It's not a no-hitter.
Yep.
It's not. A perfect game. It's a perfect game.
Yeah, against a pro lineup. I get it.
It's unfortunate that it's probably like the least likable human being on earth that threw it. Like
the dude's coming off a suspension for sticky stuff and he throws the perfect.
It's not even that. It's the domestic abuse. It's like he's just the biggest POS on the planet.
Oh,
it's like it's not even. Imperfect games are awesome because like up until this is the 24th. That's it.
Ever.
24th. So like there's in the history of baseball, there's only been 23. Like it's awesome to watch, but it was him. I couldn't get behind that it was him.
Yeah.
You know, like when the
Yeah,
guy
it's
grounded out,
unfortunate.
to third, like my initial reaction was like, "Oh, this is cool," and then immediately I caught myself. I was like, "Oh, this sucks."
Yeah.
Like, because I just hate him.
Yeah, it's terrible. But still a perfect game. It's still had the opportunity to do it. Still did it. It's still crazy, but
I have a little bit of. We can get into the perfect game a little bit later because I have. That's part of the trivia that I have for you guys is perfect game related. So we can get into it a little bit later. But yeah, listen, it's impressive. Perfect game is a perfect game, and it's just.
And he only had 9 strikeouts. I mean, so the A's were putting the ball in play. I mean, that's only a strikeout an inning. So
yeah,
sure, yeah.
There were some good plays made behind Herman too.
The Yankees defense actually made some plays. So I mean, good for them.
And more disappointing about that perfect game is that it was the first one thrown by a Dominican pitcher. Which, when I think of the history of Dominican pitchers, there's so many people I would rather see be the first than that guy.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Like, disappointing.
All right, this kind of flows into our 5th inning here a little bit, but the Braves did not lose a single series in the month of June, and the Mets didn't win a single series in the month of June.
Yeah, the A's had more wins in June than the Mets did. The A's had 9, the Mets had 7.
7 wins in a month. Yikes.
Yep.
Eek.
Awful.
So, that being said, what were some series from last week that you guys paid attention to?
Well, Sox, Blue Jays. I mean, obviously the Sox, right? Like we're from Sox fans, but Sox, Blue Jays towards the end of the week was one that I watched pretty much every inning of. Nice sweep. I mean, the Sox came from behind and you had some clutch hits and some clutch pitching. In Toronto, and I know Harrison's been saying it all year, Toronto is just still that team that they're difficult to watch because they just should be so much better. They should just be so much better. Yeah. Pitching.
Well, and the Red Sox come off a sweep from the Marlins and then go sweep the Blue Jays.
In Toronto,
like, what happened?
Yeah. So I
don't get that Blue Jays team.
I don't either. And then, but don't worry, the whole infield is starting the All-Star game because it's a popularity contest. So don't even get me fucking started. But that was one. I've watched obviously a lot of Texas. Texas and Detroit was weird because it's like I think Texas forgot that they were like playing baseball for like a game and a half. It was like those were odd games to watch. And then leading up into today, like over the weekend, they had Houston, which actually was kind of a slugfest of a series.
What was the score to game yesterday?
Today was
like 12-11, or today was 12-11.
Today. Well, so the game started. So Martin Perez started for Texas. Martin Perez gave up 2 runs in the first, and then had Kyle Tucker down 0-2 with the bases loaded. Kyle Tucker worked a full count and then hit a grand slam. So they were down 6. They were down 6-0 in the second inning, and then the Rangers came back and took an 11-10 lead, and then blew it in the top of the 9th and gave up 2. Like it was a wild game.
Yeah, that's great.
And that was kind of a microcosm of what the series was. It was just punch counter punch. So Houston's not giving up, man. That division's gonna come down to it. That's don't sleep on Houston.
Because Houston took 3 of 4, right?
They did, yeah. The games were good.
Yeah.
Texas was in all the games that they lost, but that's gonna come down to it. That is not Texas's division just yet.
No, it's not. They're not going away just yet. And then, so I spent some time watching Atlanta, Miami, like we talked about, and so Miami sweeps Boston, goes into Atlanta, gets their heads caved in. Pretty good by Atlanta. And as we talked about last week, the Braves have owned the Marlins. I mean, they own the Marlins. They've owned them for years.
Yeah.
And they just continue to toy with them.
Yeah. Tampa Bay Rays went to Arizona. Arizona lost 2 out of 3. They were fairly close games. There was one blowout, I think, but I mean 6-1. But otherwise than that, it was the game they won was 8-4. They look good. I mean, Zach Gallen could possibly start the All-Star game for the NL.
Sure,
like he's dealing.
Yeah, I can see
it. Then the Diamondbacks took 2 out of 3 from the Angels. So that was
Cincinnati Reds took 2 out of 3 from San Diego. The Reds just continue to chug along.
And San Diego, man, At what point?
Every time it looks like they've got it figured out, they fall
My
apart
goodness, I just don't know where to go with them.
They were like one game behind 500, and now they're 8 games back again. Like they just every time it looks like they got it figured out, they fall apart.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I mean, San Diego. So you look at the teams that spent huge money this offseason, San Diego and the Mets. They're both lost. They're both like miserably lost with all that payroll.
Yep.
Yeah. So actually, it's funny. San Diego. Just real quick on that. I think it's funny how quiet Red Sox fans are now. July 3rd, going into the All-Star break, Xander Bogaerts is on pace to have one of the worst seasons of his career.
Which is crazy after the start he had.
And, I'm not necessarily saying that the Red Sox have all the answers at shortstop right now because David Hamilton is I mean, he's fine, but,
Who?
But it's just, it goes to show you it is a long season. Baseball is a long season. And sometimes it's okay to make the difficult move. And I do think the Red Sox, if they paid all that money that Xander wanted, and let's say they gave him the 8, 9, 10-year deal that he wanted, and he had this season and July 3rd, and this is the numbers he had in Boston, people would be like, well, what are you going to do with Marcelo Mayer now? Marcelo Mayer's blocked up and look at the season he's having in the minors. I mean, this guy's just roaring through the minors. So I think for as loud as people have been shitting on Heim for not signing him, people should be equally as loud going, you know what, hand up, I was wrong. And they won't be.
No.
But they should be because it's turning out to be the right move. He looks terrible at the plate. He looks awful at the plate. He looks lost.
He looked
lost.
He looked bad at the plate, and the power outage we saw last year for a large stretch continues.
Mm-hmm.
There's no pop in his bat anymore. Everything he's hitting, it's
dull.
There's soft fly balls there. Yeah, like his bat's dead. There's no pop in it.
But we'll see Marcelo Mayer at the Futures game. He'll be there.
Yeah.
So that'll be kind of cool to see him.
Yep.
Yeah. Any other series from this past week that caught your eye, paid attention to? I tuned in here and there to different matchups. Nothing really
right.
I was
Nothing
watching.
I mean, I had a good time watching Philadelphia score 19 against Washington. I mean, the series wasn't worth watching because, Philly's uninteresting and Washington is rebuilding, but watching them win 19-4 was kind of fun.
That's crazy. Yeah. All right. How about series coming up? Rangers at Red Sox.
I mean, that's my series. I mean, that should be a good one coming into Boston.
Kill two birds with one stone there.
Yep. I don't know. I'll be honest with you, man. I haven't really looked. Let me give a quick glance. I haven't looked too far ahead, to be honest with you.
This to me is another one of those weeks where it's kind of a bunch of random matchups. There's nothing that really jumps off the page, makes you go, oh man, I got to watch that one.
Braves and Rays this weekend.
This weekend, that one's good. Yeah. For the start of the week, there's not much. You got the Dodgers and Pirates.
Baltimore Orioles. I'm sorry, Baltimore Yankees.
Yeah. The Yankees back half of the week. You got the Yankees with Baltimore. You've got oh no, never mind. We already talked about Texas Boston.
I got
you're right. There really isn't much. There really
is. It's not a really exciting week. It's like a filler week. I feel like it's kind of like one of those filler weeks. I got to just fill out the schedule.
Yeah, everybody needs an off week before the All-Star break.
Well, and what's sad is like I look at a matchup like Seattle at Houston, which is one you thought you'd be looking forward to.
Yeah.
But Seattle's kind of a mess. Houston's good, but it's not a series you look at and go, that one's probably not going to make much of a difference.
Yeah. Cubs going into Yankee Stadium, just a historical matchuch there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because now the Cubs have been to Fenway.
Good uniform matchup. Good uniform matchup.
Yeah. Oh, I overlooked. You got Cincinnati, Milwaukee this weekend too. That'll be good
because Milwaukee's starting to charge again. They took over first place.
Yeah, I mean they're a half game apart.
They're good. Milwaukee's good.
That would be a good matchup for sure.
Yeah, they're a half game apart. If Milwaukee can get their pitching to just be consistent, they're going to be dangerous. But that's been what we've been saying for 3 years with them. Mm-hmm. They just can't seem to get consistent pitching with all that talent.
Yeah. Let's talk about Brian Bayo's 7 inning, no hit loss. I mean, yes, it's baseball and that happens, but he goes to the 8th inning
It used to happen to Pedro all the time.
All the time. I know.
It used to happen to Pedro all the time.
Yeah. Tim Wakefield too. Tim Wakefield leave a game. It'd be like,
Yeah, that
3-1. He'd have the lead and he'd lose the game.
That poor bastard. And he just didn't get run support. Like he just never got run support.
Yeah.
That dude was an innings eater and he never got any support.
Yeah. So Bello, throws 7 no-hit innings, goes out in the 8th, gives up 2 consecutive base hits, gets pulled. Very good round of applause and reaction from the crowd. This kid's gonna be legit. I mean, he's still crazy young. We've said it
for the past couple of weeks.
Very good. He's gonna be very good.
Yeah. He just needs seasoning. He just needs innings. He needs to get up there and pitch and learn.
And I think it was either last week or 2 weeks ago, but we said he's the one guy that just keep rolling him out there. Just keep it up. There's no need to send him down for refinement or anything like that. He's up here. Right. Every 5 days, he takes the ball. He goes until he hits his pitch limit. And at this point in the season, it's crazy to say because he's been probably, him and Paxton have been like their best pitchers.
Paxton got pitcher of the week,
sure
pitcher of the month.
Pitcher of the month.
Pitcher of the month.
But Bello's at that point in his personal development in his career, the way I look at it, I don't even necessarily care about the results. As far as I shouldn't say I don't care, but what I mean is the results are not the first thing that I look at. Right. The first thing when I'm watching is how does he look? Does he look confident? Does he look in control? Does he look like he knows what he's doing? How are the pitches? Is he learning how to pitch or is he just throwing? And he knows how to pitch. And every time he's learning, he's setting hitters up. He's using off-speed stuff. I think he looks really good. And the results are going to follow not far behind.
Absolutely.
He might be in the offseason, he might be my very early pick. I might put a couple of nickels down for him to be next year's American League Cy Young. I think he's going to I do not think he's far off.
Yeah.
Well, what's amazing too is he is Pedro's project.
Oh yeah.
Pedro was with him all the time.
Does he not remind you of Pedro? Small, slight stature, but just electric stuff.
And that was Pedro's comment after that 7-inning game was, I feel like I'm looking at young me. He's everything that I was. He does everything that I did, and that is Pedro's project.
And I will tell you this:
he's around that kid a lot.
If Pedro can just instill a little bit of that craziness, if Bello will throw at your head for no reason, then you got it. Because if you don't think that added to Pedro's mystique, players didn't want to step in the box against Pedro. He'd throw you for no reason whatsoever.
Right.
That and throwing Don Zimmer to the ground, you don't want to mess with the guy.
Right.
I think he got a bad rep. Poor Pedro. What could he do?
No, Don Zimmer's running at you. What are you going to do to him?
What are you supposed to do?
He put him down gently.
He did.
Oh my God.
That's still one of the best clips of all time. Don Zimmer runs at him, he just kind of grabs him.
And then the press conference by Zimmer after.
Crying.
Crying.
Oh, Jesus.
Brutal.
That whole thing was crazy.
He apologized to the game of baseball, which is just the best.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
All-time classic.
All right. Let's talk about Shohei Ohtani's game last week. He goes 3 for 3, has 10 Ks. A crazy game.
The dude does everything right now but run the concession stands.
And he probably does that
literally
in between innings.
He probably does. I'm somebody who always thought Ohtani was a little bit more hype than what you got. But this year, we may be looking at one of the best seasons in baseball history, assuming he doesn't have some terrible second half. What he's doing is insane. The guy could literally lead the league in all the pitching categories and hitting categories. Right. It's just not right.
They were completely fixated on that game that he had, the 2 home runs, the 10 Ks, which I get. It's crazy that he's been able to do this for the first half of this year. But a pitcher has hit 2 home runs in a game before. It's happened twice.
Oh, yeah.
Madison Bumgarner has done it. Zach Greinke has done it. However,
I know.
Oh, I forgot about Greinke.
But it's not consistent. I get that part. But people were fixated on this one performance. This has never been done before, blah, blah, blah. But it has. They might not have struck out 10. I get it. But they still went out, pitched the game. They still hit 2 home runs. And Ohtani gets the opportunities to do so. Zach Greinke gets up in the World Series as a pinch hitter and records a base hit.
Right. Yeah,
because he got the opportunity.
He gets slept on. Yeah, he gets slept on that.
But that's what I'm saying. He never got that opportunity to be a DH. on his off days, on his non-pitching days, where he probably could and contributed. Is he gonna hit? Isn't he gonna lead the league in homers? Probably not. But Ohtani has the opportunities to do so. Baseball is changing in that direction, and Ohtani's.
I remember the old days of Mike Hampton pinch hitting, and people were like, "That's never been done
Carlos
before."
Zambrano used to do that too.
Right.
Dontrelle Willis used to do it. Yeah, I mean, baseball is changing; it's morphing, and Ohtani's the reason for it.
It was different though, and I know you guys aren't. I know you guys know it's not apples to apples, but like the Zambranos, the Mike Hamptons, those guys pinch hit because it was late in games and they knew how to handle a bat and they could do what was needed. Ohtani's up there because he's a legitimate offensive threat that is the heart of a lineup. Like, it's what he's doing is ridiculous. And like, he's
crazy.
He's striking out 10 in the 10 strikeouts that he had that game, put him in the top 5 of strikeouts for the season, while those 2 home runs put him in the home run league. So it's like that's, he did that in one game. Like, that's what, and I think that's why people are so hung up on that particular game, which I kind of get.
Yeah.
Like, I do get a bit tired of it, just because it's just every scroll through Twitter, Instagram, whatever, it's just like in your face.
In your face.
But he's worth it. He's so good.
He is.
He's so good. I mean, it's in every home run's like, oh, that's 475 feet. Oh, that one's 460 feet. Oh,
that one he hit off
like,
Arizona was like 493. That thing was in the Concourse.
He has 31 home runs on the year, and not a single one is a wall scraper. They're all bombs. No matter
bombs.
Which ballpark he's in. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I'm not.
They're big boy home runs.
I'm not trying to sound like an Ohtani hater.
I know you're not. I know you're not.
It is. It's a lot in our face every single day. I get it. He's special. But we're now on year 4. We're on year 5.5 of Ohtani. Like I said I said before we came on, I was like, my wife knows who Shohei Ohtani is and can pronounce his name correctly, and she hates baseball. So like,
well, wait, is she a fan of Shohei or Ohtani?
That was awesome.
That was the best ever.
Sorry, I had to. Nick.
Incredible.
That was a classic moment.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's been 5.5. We've seen this. Like, we know who Shohei Ohtani is and what he's capable of.
That's kind of how I feel about the Braves.
Fair.
It's like, just get the Braves out of my face. Like, they're good. Yeah. They're good. They're the best team in baseball.
Good for a while.
Like, they have been for 4 years.
Yeah.
3 years. Like, let's just, I feel the same way. I'm with you.
I mean, it's still astonishing what this guy's doing. Don't get me wrong. I'm still amazed that, like, it's just like, I don't need all these obscure stats being like left arm Willie in 1930 was the last one to hit. Like, okay, like I get it. I don't need to know that. Like, I can watch the game. I can see it.
It's a different game.
Right. So that's where I am on that.
Well, it is. It's the fixation on trying to find like a cool stat to share when really in reality it's just like, this guy is doing crazy stuff. Like, just
watch, right? Yeah, watch.
Yeah, just watch it and see what he's doing. Like, we don't need some obscure stat from 1897 to prove what he's doing. Like, we can see it. Just shut up and let us watch.
All right. Anything else on its upcoming series, past series, before we move on to Sean's trivia minute?
I don't think so.
All right.
I will say real quick, after Texas leaves, the Red Sox got a bit of a break and they got Oakland coming to town.
Yeah.
If the Red Sox are going to try to right the ship a little bit, if you look at their schedule, they've got a couple weeks after the All-Star break with some soft matchups. Then they have 3 weeks of like really intense matchups, another couple soft weeks, and they've got a tough September. So if this team's going to make up some ground, they got to be doing it like now.
So the Sox always have a tough September.
But here's what I'll ask you guys this, and I don't know if you guys saw it. I don't know how active you guys are scrolling through Twitter and whatnot, but I saw it on Twitter earlier today. So the way I phrase the question is going to give you the answer. But the Braves have 28 wins this year against teams with a winning record. Do you know who's second place with 27?
I'm going to go with the Red Sox.
Red Sox. The Red Sox have the second most wins in baseball against teams with a winning record, and they have the 4th best winning percentage against teams with a winning record. The problem with the Red Sox is not the hard part of the schedule. The problem with the Red Sox is the easy part of the schedule. That's the problem with the Red Sox. And that's what makes them frustrating is they're going ahead in taking it to the teams that are good. and they are just falling on their face for the teams that are bad, and it's so frustrating.
No, it's true. I mean, you look at, you got the Marlins come in and sweep, and they turn right around and take 3 straight against the Blue Jays. Like, 2 good teams, but they played so completely differently in the 2 series.
And it's based.
This team's just all over the place.
And this is not a. I mean, we are far enough into the season that this is who teams are. You know who teams are, and I expect the Red Sox to give the Rangers everything they can handle. I don't necessarily think they're going to win. Certainly not going to sweep the Rangers. I think the Rangers are probably going to take 2 out of the 3, but I think the Red Sox are going to give them a series. And then I also kind of expect the Red Sox to lay down in the first 2 games against Oakland, and then we're going, what the hell is happening here?
Right.
It's the 8th.
That's fair.
Like it's maddening.
It's fair. I mean, this is the 8th best offense in baseball, and they can score runs at will, but it is funny how they are just so wildly inconsistent.
I called it. I called it back
in the next one series to the next.
I called it in March. They are this year's Red Sox are last year's Rangers. They're going to score a ton of runs. They're just going to give up more, and I have never been more right.
Yeah, fair.
That is this team. They can hit. They just can't pitch.
Right. That's why I only watch them in the home half of the innings, and then I just change the game.
Well, I mean, and
it's
honestly,
dangerous.
like,
you come back, you're like, how are they down 6? This makes no sense.
Right. Oh, and that's the hard part. Like,
innings.
I have a tough time. I have a tough time getting into the Sox games because they're just inning by inning, game by game. They're just all over the place.
Yeah, they're hard.
And I don't find them to be a really enjoyable team to watch. There are stretches where they are. The stretches where they're a lot of fun to watch. Then there's other games I'm like, oh, I can't. I need to watch something else.
All right. It's time to move on to the trivia minute here. So
all right.
Sean came up with the questions this week, so Harrison and I are going to strap in and see what we got. So Sean, take it away.
So I got 3 questions here, and the third one kind of has a bonus question. So we'll see if we get that far.
We got it. Let's see it.
And I centered them around kind of like Acuna, about Herman's perfect game. So I'll give you the first one, right? So the first one is, so Acuna is with 1 more stolen base before the All-Star break, will be the first player in history to have 20 home runs, 40 stolen bases, and 50 or more RBIs before the All-Star break. No one's ever done that. Ricky Henderson never did that. That would be a first. I think it's pretty safe to say he's already got 41. I mean, I'm sorry, he's already got 39. So I'm gonna assume. So let's say he gets the 40 stolen bases before the All-Star break. He's pretty much a shoo-in for the 40-40, right? Yeah. So this is kind of a 2-parter. So there's only 4 guys in the 40-40 club. You guys know who they are, but who are they? What was the year they did it, and the team they did it for?
Oh, I don't know the years. Alfonso Soriano for the Nationals.
Yep.
Okay, he did it in
Bonds with the Giants.
Okay, no, yeah, okay. But do you guys want to know the years, or do you want more time for the years?
I'll never get the years, but I'd be happy to hear what they are.
2006 for Soriano.
Yes, 2006 for the Nats.
Damn.
Yep. Bonds was.
He moved over from the Pirates. I would say 90. Well, we had the strike 94, 96.
I say it's
96 for the 96 for the Giants.
Then McGuire.
No, McGuire never had a 40-40.
Who are my 40-40 guys on? My goodness.
Bonds and Soriano.
Bonds.
Did A-Rod ever go 40-40?
Yep.
So
that was in Texas.
No.
They do it in New York?
No.
He did it in Seattle.
He did it in Seattle.
Oh, that's right. Way back at the beginning of his career. That's right.
That must have been 98.
98. Yep, 98.
Jesus, Nick,
and then
you get the years.
Your fourth one was the first ever.
Willie Mays?
Nope.
40-40.
Oh, good guess though.
Why am I drawing a blank?
40-40.
Canseco? 87.
Oh, yeah.
88.
Oh, so close.
For
Damn.
The A's.
The A's.
Yeah, they were the Bash Brothers.
The late 80s A's teams were fun to watch.
Yeah. So you had
from
when they happened. So you had Canseco 88 in Oakland, Bonds 96 in San Francisco, A-Rod 98 in Seattle, and then Soriano 2006 in Washington.
Yeah. See, Bond.
Soriano's a sneaky one.
I know.
Soriano was a sneaky one. And considering 2 years earlier in 2004 with the Yankees, he was 1 home run shy.
He was
He was-
rare.
I remember
He was
that.
39 and 41. So he was 2 years early. He almost did it himself
Yeah.
in New York.
He was a freak.
Yeah, I mapped out the Bonds year because I knew he played for the Pirates from like 91 to 93. You had the
Right.
strike,
94.
and then I was like, he had to have moved over to the Giants because it was his first year with the Giants. I think he did it.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I thought Bonds was 98 and A-Rod was in the early 2000s, but
Yeah.
Crazy. That
geez.
was a good
All
one.
right. So
That was a good
Thank
one,
you.
yeah.
All right, so the second one, this is kind of modeled after Luis Ariz. So Luis Ariz right now is hitting, I think, 394 or 396 or somewhere around there. A dead ball era, 18 something, early 1900s. There was like a bunch of guys that hit like 435, but I don't even necessarily count that shit. So here's my question: since Ted Williams hit 406 in 1941, do you know the next 3 best batting averages? So since 1941, and you don't necessarily have to give me the averages if you give me the players.
Nomar was like 372.
Tony Gwynn,
Helton.
Tony Gwynn. Yep. Tony Gwynn in 1994 hit 394.
John Olerud.
No, John Olerud's on the list, but he's
No,
not
wasn't-
in the top 3.
He
Wasn't
floated
Todd
us
Helton on that list?
Not in the top
Well,
3.
that's a good guess.
You guys are giving me all in the top 10. So maybe but I didn't want to give top. I should have done
No,
top
that's
10.
fine.
Give
No, that's
3
right.
of those, but
We'll narrow it in.
so Tony Gwynn, you got one of them.
Rod Carew.
Rod Carew is another one, 1977.
Oh,
he hit
Carew's a good one, yeah.
388. So you're missing the middle one. In 1980, he hit 390.
The
And
years
I'll give
don't
you,
throw
it's
me
the
out.
American League.
Oh, so I was going to go like a guy like Pete Rose.
380.
390. 390 in 1980, he hit 390. American League.
Good God.
It was a little surprising for me. I didn't think he
Dwight
had
Evans.
batting. Nope.
Don Mattingly.
Nope.
Two.
That's way too early for
Yeah.
Don Mattingly. As I'm saying that,
80.
I'm like, no,
Can you give us division?
80.
I can. So I don't know what the divisions were in 1980. I can
Well,
give you
just
where.
give them to him now.
So currently the team is in the American League Central.
George Brett.
George Brett. Yep.
Good one.
I'm mad. I should have
So-
gotten that without the hint.
So I'll give you. So again, so
That's a good
since
one.
since 1941, Ted Williams 406. The next 3 were Tony Gwynn 394 and 94,
Yeah.
George Brett
That's crazy.
390 in 1980, and then Rod Carew 388 in 1977.
Crazy.
All right, and then the third one, Domingo Germán hit obviously on June 28th. He had his perfect game. So the Yankees won that game 11-0. That was the record for most runs scored in a perfect game. Do you know the record that they broke and whose perfect game that record was?
That's
Ooh.
a tough one. Let's see. Koufax in the World Series.
No, it was. I'll give you guys a hint. It was within our lifetime. It was a perfect game that all 3 of us definitely. But we didn't know each other then. But I have no doubt we watched it.
Roy Halladay in the playoffs.
No, that was 1-0.
That's right. It was.
Yeah, that was a super
That
close
was a
game.
1-0 game.
Randy Johnson.
Nope, that was 4-0.
God dang.
Boy.
Yeah.
The Dallas Braden.
Nope, Dallas Braden was 3-0.
Armando Galarraga. Oh, too soon.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I think that was a
Mark
close
Burley?
game too. Nope,
Burley's a
Mark
good
Burley was
guess.
5-0 against the Rays.
God, nothing. Damn.
It's right around that time though.
David Wells with the Yankees.
No, that was a little
Cone.
bit before. Nope, that was before David Wells.
God dang it.
You guys are missing a very obvious one, like heart of our lifetime.
Oh, my God. I know.
NL West, National League West.
Kershaw?
Nope,
No, Kershaw's not
doesn't
a
have
perfect
one.
game.
Same division.
Musgrove.
Randy Johnson.
I said,
Nope,
yeah.
Randy Johnson. Nope.
My goodness
I'm,
gracious.
I'm running out of guys that threw perfect
I know,
perfect
Wes.
games.
San Francisco Giants.
Oh, was it Kane?
Oh, the big righty.
Matt
Matt
Cain.
Cain. So Matt
Yeah, there you go.
Cain. He no hit. Perfect game to the San Diego Padres 10-0.
Dang, that was a
And
tough,
so this-
tough one.
That was a tough one. That was a tough one. And then my bonus question amongst that was so Matt Cain's perfect game, so against San Diego, was called balls and strikes by the only umpire to call multiple perfect games. Do you know who that umpire was? Or if you give me the other perfect game that he called, I'll give you that one as well.
Definitely wasn't Angel Hernandez. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, it was not. Nor was it Jim Joyce.
Joe West.
No. Joe West was on one crew, but he didn't call the balls and strikes. This is a tough one. I didn't expect you guys to know this.
Still,
just while doing research, I came across and I thought it was interesting.
Everybody's favorite, CB Buckner.
Nope.
So go to the same place. Wasn't Jim Joyce? Wasn't Joe West?
Goodness gracious. I'm going to be honest. I don't know.
He's been around long enough.
Names.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Phil Cuzzy.
Nope.
I think I saw this on Facebook the other day and just scrolled by it too. I can't remember. I don't know. I got nothing.
It was Ted Barrett.
Oh.
And he called the David Cohn perfect game in like 1997 or whatever year that was.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I never would have gotten that.
Yeah, I like I said,
you saw 2 of the 24.
That was a tough one.
Right?
But to think, I mean, there's been 24 and he's got 2 of them. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's
it would be better if he had a perfect game as well as the pitcher.
Yeah. It sure would.
Man, those were good ones. Those are tough.
Thanks. Yeah,
those are good.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, it was. I enjoyed myself coming up with those. I really put some effort into it. That was fun.
Yeah, that was the trivia. I liked giving them out the last couple of weeks, but you guys were like, "Well, I'm tired of looking like an idiot." So.
I'm like, I don't. Yeah.
Oh no, there's no you guys. I don't mind looking like an idiot.
Those are tough ones. Those are good.
I enjoy the trivia. The trivia is fun.
Those are awesome. All right, so we'll argue over who picks up the trivia questions next week. But
sweet, perfect.
It needs to be like All-Star Edition type stuff.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
I'd have to kind of study up on that.
I can do those.
I'll say I haven't gone yet. I'll do it.
Yeah, fine. You do it.
I'll
do
trivia
perfect.
for next week.
You do it.
I'll do All-Star Edition trivia.
You do it.
All right. We are going to head home and wrap up other news from this week. I don't have a whole bunch of stuff. It was kind of a weird news week. Aroldis Chapman traded from the Royals to the Rangers. We kind of knew this at the beginning of the season because the Royals were saying, yeah, this is pretty much just like a tryout and we'll trade you to a contender if you're doing well or somebody wants you. So that's where Aroldis Chapman goes.
Which I feel like that was almost like a prearranged sort of marriage sort of deal. Like they brought him in to let him pitch, knowing they're going to deal him. Good for the Rangers. I mean, another power arm at the back of the bullpen's good, but it seems like Chapman every time he goes somewhere where they need him, he just craters.
I don't know. I mean, he did all right in Chicago that year. I mean, they needed him to come through, and they don't win the World Series without him in Chicago.
No, he was good in Chicago. I would totally agree there. He's stumbled in most other places.
But to me, he's the short period of time. Like to me, this Texas.
Yeah.
You make the trade, and you hope that the stars align, and you use him for this year. You don't extend him for 3 years because that's where he ends up just screwing you over when he signs the big ticket, and then 2 years from now you're like, why are we paying this guy money? But when he comes over, like for the run, so to speak, I think he'll be okay. And I think this is a team that the way that they're situated, the way that they score runs, the way that the starting pitching. I support the move fully because I do think it's a good fit for him and for the team.
Yeah, because you don't need to put him in super high leverage situations.
Right.
You know,
but
it's not going to be
another
like he's
option
coming in.
But it's another option if you need to.
Absolutely. It's a power arm at the back of that bullpen does not hurt to have.
That has the experience.
Right.
Correct. Totally agree.
Just as long as he doesn't have to face Altuve.
Right. The Rangers are on the hunt for pieces.
In the division too, by the way. So he most definitely will have to face Altuve. They're in the same division.
Yeah. Also, Max Scherzer could waive his no trade clause. He kind of came out and said that he's like, well, yeah.
Well, and Steve Cohen had that press conference, and you don't often hear an owner so short with his words about the team, but basically what he said is, I don't pitch, I don't hit. It's on them. I've got expensive players that aren't performing. I need them to perform.
Yeah.
And then immediately Max Scherzer came out and said he'd be happy to waive his no trade clause. And I mean, when you look at that Mets team, all that payroll, it's locked up in guys like Scherzer that are not having great years. And that is the unfortunate when you go all in on a handful of players thinking they're going to carry you. If one or two of them don't have great seasons, this is where you end up.
Yeah.
That team has holes they couldn't fill because they invested heavily on the top tier guys. If those top tier guys aren't excellent, this is what you get.
Yep.
And they're injured, and the injuries haven't been great. And I think it was, the omen of Edwin Diaz going down in the WBC the way that he did, and it just I think you could just, and this is the excuse that Mets fans have just been, oh well, we knew it was doomed from the start. I mean, look at what happened, and while I do believe that there is some of that, because it's an injury that cascaded through the entire bullpen. I mean, it
changed everything.
It does change everything.
Yes.
But it's not a great excuse for guys have just been bad.
Yep.
They've just been bad. I mean, they've hit the injury bug. Guys have gotten hurt, no question, but
big time.
They've just been bad. And sometimes, like what Steve Cohen said, I think it's unique and for an owner to come out and hold a press conference to then just say that. Like you thought something was coming. Like, is Buck getting fired? Like, what's happening? Like, what is this press conference? Like, he went on Twitter, I'll see you guys in 2 hours. Like, what is happening?
I legit saw that the day before, and I was like, Buck's gone. Yeah. Like, that's
press conference tomorrow. You'll hear it directly from me.
That's what it definitely sounded like. Like, every GM says that. Be like, oh, yeah, press conference tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. It's like, oh, well, he's gone.
The owner, and Steve Cohen has been so vocal about, as an owner, he's been so vocal about, like, he's a Mets fan first and a Mets owner second. Like, so – when he did, I thought for sure it was, and I didn't think maybe Buck. I thought, but something big is coming. But it was just him being like, hey man, like, I'm paying these guys a lot of money. They just have to be better. Yep. And he's not wrong.
No,
he's not.
And I wonder the timing of the press conference and then Scherzer coming out being like, oh, the waiving of the no trade clause. Yeah, that's a possibility. I could definitely, like, is he that, like, and he's not, I know, is he that mentally weak? But he's not mentally weak. I mean, this guy's a bulldog. We've seen him do it for years on it. It's like, he can't battle through.
Right.
Like, Scherzer's just given up now. He doesn't want to be like, I don't know. I find the whole locker room situation, I can imagine it being tense and awkward. And just, I think they're just putting too much pressure on themselves. I'll say this, though. That is a team that if they come in fourth in the division and they're just wildly underperforming, that's another team that early in the offseason, I'm going to put $5 down to win the division. Because that's a team that they're not this bad. Yeah. And if they keep most of that roster together for next year, they're just going to be better.
Yeah.
Like, they're just going to be.
Right.
They may not win the division, but they get good odds.
Well, they can't be any worse than they're playing right now.
No.
So
no.
Yeah.
No.
So I don't know. I mean, that was a ramble, but I just they're frustrating. They're frustrating.
Totally get it.
Yeah. I don't even
watch them when I'm frustrated.
They're so much better than this.
Yeah. Well, there's a report out today that the Mets have made a decision in terms of what they're going to do rest of the season, and they're going to sell. But they're not going to sell who you think they're going to sell. They're going to look to move people like Tommy Pham and Mark Hanna and Robinson and Raley. They're going to keep the core intact. They're not going to try to move Verlander and Scherzer or Lindor or Alonso. Like, they're going to keep the core intact. They're going to try to move all the pieces that they don't see as part of the team next year to get some young players. And they're already planning to rebuild in the next year. So the Mets are not necessarily throwing the towel in on the season, but they're admitting it's not looking like this is going to be the season we hoped it was. So we're going to begin to prepare for next year.
Right. Well, as they
should.
Yeah,
I mean, that team is a mess. They've got injuries. It might be a good idea to shut Alonso down for a little while here, given the fact that he came back so quickly. Maybe take some of that pressure off and just let these guys play out the season and get ready for next year.
I mean,
but that's where it's a tough look, though. Pete rushes back and then decides he's going to change his swing for the home run derby. And then he goes and does the home run derby, and then they're going to have to shut him down for a little while. And I'm not saying they're going to do it, but I'm saying, like, if that's the series of events, like, that just looks awful. That looks like you have no control over of an organization. It looks like you have no control over your locker room. Like are we thinking things through? That'd
be bad.
It's just a bad look.
Yeah. I agree. Let's move on to the last thing I have is player of the week, player of the month. Well, your players of the week are also your players of the month. And it's really no surprise. Well, Domingo Germán got player of the week he got co-player of the week because he just threw the 24th perfect game. So I guess they just threw him in there for
I get that.
like a congrats. Shohei Ohtani for the American League, 417, 10 for 24, 6 homers, 7 RBIs. Way to get on base for him, Angels. Nice work. Ronald Acuna, 474, 5 home runs, 7 RBIs, 4 stolen bases. I mean, crazy. Now let's put their months together. Ohtani with a 394, 15 bombs, 29 RBIs, 25 extra base hits. I mean, not quite Sammy Sosa status there with his 20 home runs in June, but pretty dang good. It's unreal. And his pitching stats aren't even on here. So, I mean, it's nuts. Ronald Acuna, 356, 9 homers, 22 RBIs, 14 stolen bags this month. So those are your players of the month.
Is that good? Are those good numbers?
They're okay. I mean,
is that good?
Nothing too shabby. I do want to give James Paxton a nice shutout here.
Yes.
Pitcher of the month for the AL, 3-0, 1.74 ERA, 31 innings pitched, a 165 batting average against, and a 7.77 whip.
Yeah. He's making Chaim Bloom look really smart for grabbing him last year and stashing him.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks really good out there.
He looks really
He's got good velocity.
He looks like the big maple of old.
Yep, absolutely. Rookie of the month, Gunnar Henderson. Felix Bautista, reliever of the month. We got to see Bautista live, and that dude is legit.
Electric.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's electric.
It's nuts.
Uh-huh.
Blake Snell for the NL pitcher of the month, 3-1 with a 0.87 ERA. So probably literally the only run he gave up, he lost the game because the Padres can't score.
Well, and that's the thing. Like you look at that and you think, well, the Padres must have had a good month. Nope, they didn't.
53 strikeouts.
Wow, that's a lot.
And 124 batting average against, 0.68 whip. So Blake Snell has found it. This was the Blake Snell we saw in Tampa. It's taken him a little bit to adjust out there in San Diego, but
feels like forever.
He has been dealing. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, the stuff was always good. He just couldn't locate.
Yeah.
He got hit too hard.
Corbin Carroll's the rookie of the month out there, 291 batting average,
so
8 homers, 22 RBIs, 8 stolen bases. This kid can fly too. This kid is turbo fast. It's insane.
Yeah, he's so good.
And then Craig Kimbrell, a little blast from the past there, 2-0, 5 saves, 0.69 ERA, 13 innings, 21 Ks, 1 earned run. So those are your players of the month. Yeah. And
good choices.
Yeah. I mean,
sorry, boys. Ronald Acuna just stole his 40th base of the year. So we have history.
There it is.
We have a history.
Crazy.
This guy's unbelievable.
It's nuts.
I mean, what do you do with a guy that can take you a yard and also steal a bunch of bags against you? Like, you don't want to put him on base, but
not only that, he's got like
you don't pitch around him because you don't want him on base.
Like 10 first inning home runs this year too. He's just like ambushing guys too.
The dude ambushes pitchers.
They said he had a hit at one point in the season. I think it was like early June, maybe the end of May. He had a hit in the first inning in half of the games. Half.
Yeah. So Ronald Acuna, I think I'll have to refresh the stat because maybe it was Ronald Acuna has an RBI in every inning of a game. Like he has a first inning RBI, a second inning, a third inning, a fourth inning, a fifth inning. So it's like doesn't matter when he comes up.
No,
like he's just.
But
it doesn't matter.
At one point in the season, he had a hit in half of his first inning at bats. Like there's nothing like setting the tone of a game, being like, well, I'm not getting this guy out. Like, might as well flip a coin and just intentionally walk him.
Well, and talk about putting pressure on the team right out of the gate.
Imagine how much confidence it gives you as a team. Let's say you're home, top of the first, your pitcher like struggles, right? Maybe a walk and a 2-run bomb, and like you go into it and you're like, oh, we're down 2-0 early, whatever. First bat of the game, he rips a double. It's like, all right, we're back in it.
Yeah.
Like that, like something as simple as that, like the confidence that gives you in the dugout. It's like, oh, boys, we're good. We're fine. And the pitcher, and I'm sure that pitcher's like, all right, I'm going to settle in and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's like, that's just what good teams do. And he's the table setter. He's unbelievable. Yeah. And oh, by the way, 20 home runs, 40 stolen bags, and 50 RBIs. And it's not the All-Star break yet.
Right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. Oh, I do have one more thing, and Harrison can help me out with this.
I've got it ready for you, Nick.
Let's go. Bring it up.
So we need to take a moment to at least acknowledge one of our favorite holidays of the entire year. That is Bobby Bonilla Day. So
July 1st,
Bobby
correct?
Bonilla, July 1st,
July
Bobby
1st.
Bonilla cashed yet another $1.19 million check, as he will do until 2029. So our boy Bobby Bonilla got paid yet again for doing next to nothing with the Mets. And he's also being paid by the Orioles as well for that same time frame. But it's a good reminder to folks that there are a number of these arrangements still out there. So here's a few of the most notable. Obviously, Bobby Bonilla. Brett Saberhagen still gets $250,000 a year from the Mets until 2029. Max Scherzer is owed $105 million from the Nationals that will be paid out in installments through 2028. So Max Scherzer is making his $43 million in or $44 million, whatever the hell it is, in New York, as well as 15 or 20 from the Nationals each year. Manny Ramirez is still collecting $2 million a year from the Red Sox until 2026. Ken Griffey Jr. is in the top 5 of the Reds payroll at $3.59 million.
He's number 3.
Yep. So Ken Griffey Jr. is getting paid by the Reds. His last payment will be next year, and then he falls off the books. And to round it out,
job.
I know, what's he going to do? I mean, my goodness, $3.59 million doesn't go far these days. And then you got Todd Helton, who just received his final $1.3 million payment from the Rockies for his $13 million deferred contract. So there are a lot of teams about this time of year that write checks to players that are long gone. And if you guys didn't see it in the Facebook page, we posted the deferred salaries that are going to be owed to Mookie Betts. And Mookie, until he's about 50 years old, is going to be getting $8 million a year from the Dodgers.
Oh, no. It starts at 8. And then when he turns
so it starts, it ends up at 11, right? Yeah. So, and Chris Davis has still got deferred money. There's all kinds of deferred contracts out there.
Chris Davis with a C, right? Not with a K.
Yes, correct.
Chris Davis with a C.
Chris Davis with a K led the league in home runs. Chris Davis with a C led it in strikeouts.
Which also, just to bring up, like, the best meme I've ever seen is Chris Davis on a bus, and he goes, and then the meme's like, "This is the safest time to cross the street because we know the bus won't hit anything."
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Jeez.
That's not bad.
That's rough. But yeah, so happy Bobby Bonilla Day to everybody, and there's a lot of players out there that are benefiting from those deferred contracts. Still.
Like, literally, I just said it before we went on, is like Mookie Betts is going to be like straight out of a rap video at the side of his pool, girls around, music blaring at 51 years old, and just cashing checks.
I can just picture it, like his phone's going to ding. It's like a Venmo thing. Your money has been deposited.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just 8 figures comes across your phone July 1st. No.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be bad to make 7 or 8 figures sitting poolside and as your retirement plan. Could be worse.
Yeah, how do you get that gig?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, he's not even that good at baseball. It's crazy. But
yeah, no.
Neither am I.
Exactly.
we got that in common.
But yeah, that's all I had for tonight. You guys have anything else?
No, that's it.
So.
No.
All-Star Week coming up.
All-Star Week. I mean, if the guys are up for it, I'm good to go live during the Home Run Derby next Monday. I think we did that last year. It was kind of fun.
Yep,
we were on for like 2 or 3 hours, just talking baseball, watching the Derby, watching these guys hit absolute moonshots. So we'll probably be on. You guys can hop on. Maybe we can get some guests on and join us for some baseball talk. It'd be kind of cool to line up some people to just pop on while we're live. So just let us know. Send us a message if you want to join us for a little bit.
A little viewing party.
Absolutely. So just make sure you like, follow, subscribe on YouTube. You can share our podcast, and keep contributing to the discussions every week. It's been great. Next Monday at 8 p.m. Maybe we'll come on a little bit earlier just because we know that the home run derby starting at 8. Depends on families. But anyways, we will be on next week for the home run derby. So we will see y'all next week around 8 o'clock.